if I'm going to sit here today, I'm going to preach to anybody about longevity. Just being around, not for a short time, but a long time. To get the Jordan 1, I want to say this. It took a community. Yeah. And that's what made me want to build communities and give back to communities. And I'll never forget, people made fun of these sneakers all the time. And I can't believe I'm going to do this, but this is the style of it where people used to be like, yo, rejects, it costs $1.99. Rejects, it make your feet feel fine. Rejects, it make your mother save a dime. And I'm like, yo, like, these sneakers are no good.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 205, and this week I am joined by none other than the legendary Premium Pete.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
Welcome to the podcast, man.
First off, I want to give you credit. And what I mean by that is I look back, and you actually reached out to me almost 3 years ago.
I sure did.
And, some people take this shit personal. And, they don't know what their people are going through or situations, or maybe, just people are busy or, and I've always had you on my mind. It's like, because you followed up again. And I know what it takes. And I know how kind of like, it's even tougher now, but like years ago, I was asking people, they really weren't on a pod all the time. So they were like, kind of like, all right, I don't know. I always tell this story on the Combat Jack show. I remember Ice-T, when we told him to come on, he was like, I don't even know where to podcast. I'll come and sit with y'all though. Yeah. And it made me understand early on. So following up is everything, man. Sure. Not taking it personal. Like sometimes I've met people and I think I was on the run or whatever, and I may have been like, yo, email me. And they took it like, I could tell. They were like, oh, we want to talk to you. And I gave them my email, and they took it like, I was going through changing my phones but at that time, but did I have to explain all that?
No.
It's like, if you really wanted to contact, just shoot me an email. But what I'm trying to tell you is one of the most powerful things to do is consistency and following up. And you've done that. And I said to myself, I have to make myself available to come. And then Welty, it's funny because I break chops for Welty, but he's a young old soul. Yeah. Which I consider even somewhat you to be. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make Welty look good. And I'm going to say, I'm coming on here because of Matt Welty.
I was going to say, shout out Welty, man, because...
But your follow-up, and I salute you for that, man, for not looking down and thinking you're less, thinking somebody's ignoring you. And it's not just about me, it's just in general. And that's what I helped make you make it, man. So salute.
Man, I appreciate that. I didn't expect to get flowers. I never take, when I ask somebody, I never take it personal. I always make it seem like it's like I'm shooting from deep. I'm always just gonna be like, hey, if it's possible, let me know. And I find it weird when people are like that, where it's like, I do get it if it's like a job, being like, oh, we're not good. You sent your resumes, you did 20 resumes and nobody hit you back. And you'd be like, now I'm frustrated. I get that. But when it comes to talking to people, you have to create a relationship. And if you don't figure out a way to create that relationship, it does become a dead end.
Sure. And
I think the problem is, like, some people think they can be the biggest name, they could be the best interviewer or whatever, but it's like, do you create that relationship?
Sure.
And how do you cultivate that?
Yeah, no, and that's why I said it's important. It's a big part of podcasts. It's a big part of building and being a creative. No matter what you're in, sneakers, entrepreneurship, small business, just being someone who follows up. And, like, I think about even myself. Like, I went through times where I had to say to myself, is this guy ignoring me? Years ago, asking certain people, and then people are busy. Yeah. And people are like, yo, as long as you stay true to it. And I think, like, that's why I said, when I look back, 2022, some people, man, fuck Premium Pete. Man, well, let me tell you something, man. Sometimes if you kind of keep the door open, people come through. Yeah. I'm in the building, man. My first kicks.
Yeah. And also we got D in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nice to meet you too. It's funny, you start mentioning, I think when you get to a point where you start mentioning good people, it's always like an open door. Like, for me, I always feel like it's almost like friend of mine, friend of ours. Not to celebrate like a mob kind of slang culture, but
Yeah.
it's like there's a big difference. Like when you're like, oh, I'm with some good people that are a friend of ours.
Yeah.
You know, and some
We're all
people are a
at the
friend of
table.
mine.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I love that. I love that. Wanted to say, definitely shout out to Welty. We ran into each other at Static Selectors. Is it Fat Buddha? Is it called?
Yeah, it's Hidden Tiger.
Hidden
actually.
Tiger. Sorry, I always I get it confused. Fat Buddha's another place that had really fire wings. I think it was
Absolutely, but
yeah.
Hidden Tiger
Hidden Tiger
is
awesome.
with Static and his partner Kimchi and I think some other people. But they're doing some dope stuff to, and have a dope menu and hip hop. When if you can listen to hip hop on a Wednesday, if you have a hip hop on a Tuesday and just really vibe out and and Fat Buddha had a lot of great things, so I think they're just continuing a legacy of their own.
Yeah. But you're here to answer the question.
Yeah.
And that question is, what's your first kicks? What's that first pair of sneakers you absolutely needed to?
Man, that's it. All I tell is that, and then the episode is over. Well, it's funny when you say, like, because I think about it, and when you say, what's there to think about? I had so many terrible kicks before I had my first kicks.
Mm-hmm.
First kicks that I liked.
Yeah.
I would say, having is a Jordan 1, but that wasn't what I was fascinated over.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a community to get that.
Mm.
But I had so many, like my mother, like I think about it, like I had like kangaroos,
Yeah.
With a zipper on the side where I used to stash like $5 in there, $3, $2. So, but I wasn't really understanding that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my it's funny because there's this thing called rejects.
Mm-hmm.
And, my mother bought me these things called Olympians. And I'll never forget, people made fun of these sneakers all the time. And I can't believe I'm going to do this, but this is the style of it where people used to be like, yo, rejects, it costs $1.99. Rejects, and make your feet feel fine. Rejects, and make your mother save a dime. And I'm like, yo, like, Ma, these sneakers are no good. And she's like, what are you talking about? They're great. They, and I'm like, nah. So, to get like something at that time was very hard.
Yeah.
I grew up, my father worked 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a family, we grew up in Coney Island where it gave me a lot of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was involved in a lot of different things, like small businesses and different go-karts.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like crazy, but it was a very tough business because it's seasonal. And,
Right, yeah.
And I was able to see so many
On the
things.
boardwalk?
Yeah,
The boardwalk
yeah,
too?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fire. That's
Yeah,
fire.
I grew up in Coney Island, and that's he worked right, there, and he owned the go karts and
Mm-hmm.
a couple of different things, and Coney Island really gave me. I always tell people I didn't make my bones in Coney Island,
Mm-hmm.
but it gave me a lot of flavor and culture and a chance to be a chameleon because I saw more. And then going into like Bensonhurst, Brooklyn type of, Bath Beach, Brooklyn at a teenage year back in like 88,
Yeah.
90. It's a rough time. Think about sneakers, people getting robbed for sneakers, people getting killed for starter jackets, people getting killed for Jordans. Just like, that's why that whole thing, like when someone said, what size are you? It's like your size.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's real, seeing people, kind of like, that's one thing about the culture, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. Let's go back to to me. So, I wore a lot of sneakers like that, growing up that my parents just got me. Until I was able to really be fascinated. The Jordan 1 was fascinating to me, but not as much as the Jordan 3. And I think that's when I really reconnected. To get the Jordan 1, I want to say this, it took a community.
Yeah.
And that's what made me want to build communities and give back to communities and do them, because I tell people, like, even $65, even $100 later on, years later, like I had a paper route, like I used $34 from that. My aunt gave me $10, my mother gave me $10, my grandmother gave me $5, just little things like that to get one pair. And now I look at it like, yo, if you get one pair now, it's like, yo, people are like, yo, like Jordan called me, when you gonna stop wearing those? Like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta like mix them up and have some flavor. And I feel, it's weird. And that's why you see people find passion in your first kicks.
Yeah.
Like even in retail, I was able to see people who couldn't afford it now work in places. Now they go buy it.
Yeah.
You know, even some people, they work in jobs, they can't even wear sneakers. They got crazy collections.
Crazy collections.
Because they couldn't get it when they were younger.
Yeah, I always call it like you're just playing catch up, because it's like you spend so long being deprived of that thing, and you're like, oh, I gotta get these, when these brands are being like, oh, let's put these out now when these people can get it. And so when that happens, you're just like, all right, let me get, oh, threes is coming out again, let me get them. Oh, let me get them, you know. So
well, Jordan Brand, I think at that time, you know, I mean, Michael Jordan was everything, and still is. But what I'm saying, to me, like, meaning just be like Mike, the shoes, the everything. But I think about, you know, I came across so many different shoes throughout my life, like even Avias, like Avia 720s. Yeah. You know, Avia, whatever you want to call it, however different people call it. But to me, Avia 720s, I love them. 830s are cool, but you know, and I had even growing up.
830s are sky high, right?
830s are higher. Yeah, 720s I think are a little lower.
A little lower, but that still had the strap over it, right?
Yeah, it was a bigger one. You know, then even like suede felines. Like I used to like before I came across like pinnacle sneakers. Yeah. And I think anybody could understand this. I'll give you an example. Like my parents even too, like when I'm saying, oh, I want to get the new Mike Jordans and new Airs. You know, my mother like, we don't have that type of money. You know, it's almost like a Mercedes. Like you over there trying to drive like a car that you can't really get. Right. And my parents were like, kind of like, yo, we put you in these spot belts, put you in these Sauconys, put you in these, you know, Olympians, you know, and these kangaroos. So I was able to get around with that and make it. I'll never forget one thing that was dope. When I was in public school, PS212, Puma was big, basket at the time. In that school, like where we were, basket was big. The great thing about it was the spot up that they used to sell fat laces. So I used to have a Puma basket, and I got like $20. I get 4 laces. Sometimes got to throw an extra one in there. And now I was able to take the shoe and like turn it into like white and black with the panda mix style, then do like a red, like kind of like, and we were able to make flavors with it. Yeah, you were shining. Yeah, because there was like, not like, you know, a lot of people, that's one thing, and even people like Clark, people like Dallas Penn, people like, and I could keep on going, but people who, and all people from your neighborhood and or area that know how to put a fit together. That really, and sometimes, hear me when I say this, without much, before there was much. Yeah. You know, like sometimes even I'll see like a local guy, you'll see a guy put the red hat, the red pants, the red cane, the red, you know, I stop, even though it may not be like all designer stuff and he's not like a real, say, sneaker, right? I'll stop by, yo, my man, you killing it. Yeah. Because just the ability to put something together in your mind and then put that fit off and it be fire is a beautiful thing. But we're taking a long time to get there.
No, we're good.
I would say my first sneakers are all those sneakers that got me there, but sneaker that I wanted, that was kind of like, you know, the Jordan 1 took me a while to get it. But the community of family and friends and like, you know, kind of like getting 5 from here, 10 from here, was able to get it. When I really fell in love with sneakers is the Jordan 3. Yeah. And even though the Jordan 2 is probably the best leather, and it was made by an Italian guy, actually. Yeah, it was. That shoe doesn't get enough. It's crazy because the Jordan 2 is made with so much beautiful quality, and people are like, yeah. You know, like,
I mean, because like I had a couple people on. Shout out to my boy AD Sneaks, and he loves like the way like Sean Collard. I don't know if you follow Sean Collard. He's like a huge Jordan historian. Yeah. But like he's a big Jordan 2 person too, and that's the thing. Like the construction of the shoe, where it's like. It's just everything about it is supreme leather. And, and all this,
just quality. I mean, even like N9000 Diodoro. I feel like in my mind, I feel like, you know, that's a well crafted shoe. Yeah, you know, and I think taking time to use those materials. I mean, we're in a day and age where it's like, you know, you'll see like Jordans with glue on them still, or kind of made fast, or made, you know, these are all these businesses that are kind of fulfilling these orders. Right. Yeah. They don't have the same. You know, that's what's weird too, because you don't know if they have the same brand canvas that people who pushing the brand do. Right. Yeah. You know, and the quality control is tough. You know, I see that on a lot. So, you know, but the Jordan 3, I would say the first time I've said this before, but the first time I saw a Jordan 3, man, I fell in love. Yeah. I was like in junior high, and my science teacher came in. I'll never forget, this kid came in with these on, and we were like, yo, we were looking, I mean, elephant print, the Jumpman logo on the tongue, the visible air unit bubble, which we popped because we didn't believe there was fucking air in there. You know, and then the Nike Air in the back. I remember, I was like, yo, those are fucking fire.
Right, yeah.
You know, and you know, it was like, it's funny because it's like I had to take like so long to convince him to try to get these things with the help of like a family. It's like by the time I got them, the next one was coming out.
Oh yeah, the Fords.
But I was able to wear them. I have pictures still. I mean, it's crazy because I lost a lot of disposable cameras, but I mean, I have so many, you know, of like, you know, me as like a young kid and like on a dirt bike on with fours, you know, with threes on, you know, and like when they came out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like, I mean, I usually ask the question of like, so how does sneaker culture find you? But you are part of the creation of sneaker culture. So
well, actually, you know what's funny? It's funny you say that because I used to go on sneaker shows and even having my own. Me and Dallas had one called Sneaker Fiends Unite. You know, I would always tell people, like, because people would be like, yo, how did you get into the sneaker culture? And I'm like, yo, there's no application like I signed, you know, to be of it, to want to push it and love it. Like I was telling this about podcasting earlier. You know, I was involved in podcasts early at a point where people, even sneakers, I remember like people were like, wait, you have 100 pairs of sneakers? I'm like, why, that's a lot. And this is like so long ago. Even think about it. Even like shouts to Chris Fidel. Like he was on the Tyra Banks show. People were like, what? Like they were confused. But why? He's passionate about something. Exactly. You know, there's tons of passionate, whether you're a woman that love handbags or whether, you know, you're a man who loves, you know, golfing. There's, you know, passion before it became a culture. And I look at it like, you know, that's how you push something forward, by believing in it. I was even telling someone, years early on with Combat, we were at this lunch and people were going around, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a CFO, I'm a director, I'm a this. And Combat was like, oh, we're podcasters. And I was like, oh, I thought he was going to say he was a lawyer because it's prestigious and people like to do that. And he believed in the craft even when it was early. And I feel like, you know, sneaker culture is weird because sneaker culture to me is like, it's not what, like now I think like people see it as like a perk thing, like it's like cool, it's like you get cool points, and sometimes like it's easily, you know, you could put somebody here named Dead Stock Tom and you could be like, yo, Pete, this is Dead Stock Tom, you know, he's from Indiana, he's got over 2,000 pairs of sneakers, like, you know, you just don't like to be in front of the camera. Now he's coming out, what's up, Tom, nice to meet you. He may have bought all the sneakers from Flight Club in the past month,
exactly. And now he's
because he got money like that,
now he's
so you know, it's very weird because I feel like it's when it's just sneaker culture is just like hip hop. It's not a music, it's a way of life. It's the way we walk, it's the way we talk, it's how we represent, and everybody has their own style. You know, it's like, you know, I look at it like that. And sneaker culture to me, or sneaker community, is just about like even just building and being creative. And it really turned into a lifestyle for me. Like, meaning I was able to, and still to this day, not only travel the world, but, you know, make great friendships and brotherhoods and help people achieve their dreams. And people help me achieve my dreams, you know?
I mean, you definitely, that's what I was saying. Like, it's hard to, the reason why I said it that way is because you are part of the fabric of this. Like, there is no sneaker culture in the idea of how people saw it without you and without.
No, just a piece of the puzzle. I would just say.
I mean, look, just
a piece of the puzzle.
We're here to give you the flowers.
No, I appreciate it.
But I also feel like it's just, you know, there's so much of, and I agree with you. Like, when it comes to me, it's just like, yes, there's many subgenres and many different ways you can appreciate sneakers. And it's like, but yeah, you still have to have this appreciation where it's like, it's something you just think about constantly, or it's something that you just do. And it's like second nature to you. Like when somebody gives me a reference and I'm just like, yeah, I remember when, you know, LeBron wore the Galaxy, you know.
It's a perfect example. Like, I remember, you know, I talk to people all the time that remember the Jordan, going to a prom and like a Jordan 4 or a Jordan 11 on their high school prom, or people remember their first kiss in a Jordan 6. Like, or the time, anything. People have memories and moments with these pieces of, I've always looked at, I think as you get older, you start to really value things more.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, certain sneakers are timepieces of my life. Right. It's almost like music is soundtracks. Certain songs are the soundtrack of your life. And I really think people don't understand like the passion of sneakers is more than just rubber and leather.
Right.
It's really telling a story, and people are fascinated over that piece of product and what it means in the story of it. Right. And I think that's the fascinating thing, the stories that have been able to been told. Even I think back in the SB days, it's like some of them were told without even being real. Like meaning these weren't like signed off and official collabs, but the internet's the internet's go and make something and name something, they're gonna do that. And I miss, and I really appreciate over the years, all of everybody who contributed to making it a real sneaker culture, whether you know me or not. Like, anybody who's watching or listening, I've been able to contribute and I've been able to help push it forward, and it's something I'm passionate about. Like I think about sneaker culture, even in the sense of like, I would tell, like in my retail days, I would tell moms, like, when they were shopping with their sons, I would see them looking at like, what was it called? What's that? The guitar SB one, the Fender or the no, God, I'm having a pink.
The Gibson.
Yeah, the Gibson. And I remember like the kid looking and his mother saying, it's too much fur in it. And going, it's too much yellow. It's too much red. Too much speckle. And I would just be like, excuse me. I'm like, I'm not trying to. You could buy something here, or you don't have to buy anything here. Yeah. But if I could drop this on you real quick, I'm like, how old is your son? And she's like, I like 13. I'm like, decision making is one of the hardest things for these kids growing up. Let them pick what they like. Let them express their feelings, how they feel, how they want to vibe, how they want to put something together. And it might do something. And then, she trusted in me. And she would come back over the years like I was some kind of like coach of a, like cool coach.
Yeah.
But it means something. I'm saying that to anybody listening. Let your kids pick what they want to wear. I don't give a fuck if it's all pink, this, that. Like, like let them express themselves and see what they like and see what they don't like.
Right, yeah.
And I think like that's the thing, like, that I try to do. There's no booklet or manual into sneaker culture, being a parent or life or anything.
All
like,
of that, yeah.
Even I get people who tell me like, I get people like, Premium Pete, I'm from St. Louis, no disrespect, but we got the best pizza. And I just say, hey, your palate is a rookie. Like your palate is
a ridiculous rookie.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that.
I can't even talk crazy. St. Louis, I love y'all.
No, I
love y'all.
It's not only about St. Louis. It's just about if a kid grows up somewhere in Kansas or whatever, and that's what he likes.
Yeah.
He's like, I just ate this New York, like it ain't that good.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But I just think it's always down to the materials. And that's what I was saying, even in sneakers. That's one thing I always appreciated about being a nerd for sneakers.
Yeah.
Like, even I remember like Talib, he came on Combat Jack Show years ago, and he was talking about how all different hip hop artists are nerds, whether you be a comic book nerd or this nerd. And we looking at nerds the wrong way. Like nerd don't mean you a square. You nerd out on things.
Yeah.
And with sneakers, like I remember even like, Long Live Dallas Penn, of how much he appreciated like the interior and the exterior, like a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, how's it look inside? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the comfortability? What's on the outside? Even that's why even people like Clark Kent, you think about it, and I throw on Black Fridays, but here's a guy who's like, how am I going to put together like some of the like dopest materials, but not like hurt a pocket of somebody? And in this industry, in this time, it's hard to do that. Because they're like, it's almost like kind of like, we'll give you a check, but it's not a benefit for everybody else.
Right, yeah. We'll give
it's like kind of like it's $500 a pair.
Yeah, and you gotta make us make money.
Yeah, and you gotta promote that. But and not to saying that there's something wrong with $500 a pair, but I'm just saying anybody who's trying to make it affordable and have you have dope stuff.
Yeah.
and really just, give you more bang for your buck. I think that's special. And as a creative, think about it. Forget about Clark being a producer. Forget about him being a legend and everything he was. Just to be able to, as a Brooklyn kid, to be able to create a sneaker, to be able to have a sneaker in your own name, to obsess over something, and have, one thing that's fascinating is how much time he had to spread love. You don't realize that people are gone. Even somebody like Dallas, meaning spread love to other people.
It's interesting because I met both Clark. I met Clark. Shout out Antonio, because I met Antonio last year, and we came pretty cool. But I met Clark the year before at Complex Con and got to speak to him for a little bit. But I first met him at Basketball City Sneaker Con. He pulled up one time, talked to him for a little bit. This is before I even thought about getting really heavy into writing about sneakers if I wanted to, or talking about sneakers. I would just collect and that was it. I would just go home. But started this, and I really always wanted to have Clark on, and I wanted to talk to him a little bit, but never really got the chance. But that one time at Basketball City left a lasting impression of if I want to be in this, I need to push this forward. And that's all I've ever been trying to do is because before that moment, before I met Clark, I always thought this was this is for me. Right. I was I got to know where the hot shit is. I got to know where to go. I'm gatekeeping everybody away from this so that I'm the one that's got it all.
Yeah.
Met him, spoke to him a little bit. And after that, cause him and Russ are doing Quick Strike got me really heavy into sneaker culture. And so I was just damn, I'm looking at this all wrong. I should be trying to get everybody into this. And that's what I felt from him. And I've always, ever since that moment, I've always just been sneakers is for everybody. Sneakers is for everybody. You're going to love it how you love it. And we all should there's no real right way type of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, also it's a piece of, sneakers are a conversation starter. I look at people's sneakers, even that's what I was saying before. It's more like a uniform now. But back, even I remember and I still to this day, I'm just giving an example on a cruise. And you see some old guy wearing Ferris Bueller's. I'm yo, my man, salute, I see you, and I think that's always special.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not out there still, but it's
rare.
I miss it being authentic that. I miss
I'll give you an example because I was in Vegas and I always peruse the sneaker shop. So I go in there and I'm looking at a pair of 95s, and this older guy comes up to me who's just I'm holding them and he goes, best shoe model ever made. And I looked at him and just 95s. He's best shoe model. This is the first time I ever put on I had the felt what the Air Max bubble really felt like. And I was just that's a moment. To me, in my head, I forever in my head, just I always fly back to that.
Well, if you think about it, this is 30-year anniversary this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
So.
MX 95s, I it's crazy. I actually it's a big part of my collection for many years. It used to be one of my almost favorite shoes. I used to run in Air Max and I was really, I remember Air Max ID and 255. I made so many. Yeah. I got so many, even now, I got so many pull boxes, of all different materials as I started to no, the IDs I'm talking about.
Oh, the IDs.
Oh, Bacons? Yeah, of course.
I'm about to say OG with the Dave's quality meats on the tongue.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've always shout out to Dave. I mean, I think his creativeness, and I've said this before plenty of times, and I think we know of each other. We don't know, kind of, but what an amazing creative. I mean, for even just DQM, not only for the Blazers and the Bacons, and his passion, but more importantly, just his creativeness many years ago. For being a butcher shop, a style of, even places like Bodega, for, being a bodega before you go into a sneaker store are so creative, honestly, and people, they've been around for so long. People think this is new, but a lot of these guys are creative, you think about it, sneaker shops all over the world and having a boutique, it's not an easy job, and people want to come and hang out. Everybody wants a discount and a hookup. But I give credit, people like Corporate Matt, one of the nicest guys in the business. you know, and been around a long time. And that's what it's about. Like, I feel like if I'm going to sit here today, I'm going to preach to anybody about longevity, just being around, you know, not for a short time, but a long time.
A long time, yeah.
And I think it's, you know, it's important to, you know, for that. And, but boutiques are tough, man. I really, you know, I feel bad for a lot of boutiques because,
Same.
you know, it's like, I give an example. Even me, when I was in retail, I used to have people like calling like, "Hey, yo, you gonna get that Holiday Jordan 11, like the 2-pack?" I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get that. And they're like, "Okay, how much?" I'm like, I gotta see when they come in. If we get them early, I don't know. It depends. And he goes, "Well, I'm just trying to give you a sale. I'm trying to look out for you." And I'm like, "Yo, these Holiday Jordans will walk off the." I'm like, "Yo, they'll walk off the shelf." But how? And I told this to people. If you fuck with sneakers and you got a local boutique shop, not that you don't know this. If you're hearing this and you already know, but if you don't, yo, buy the other things from them.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and even if they give you a discount, support them. They'll hold you down. Building a relationship. You know, I guess I'm going to go here, but building a relationship is the real flex in life.
Yes.
Not, you know, I grew up in Brooklyn at a time where materialistic, glitter, gold, and was everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know guys that they look great, they were terrible in the inside. I didn't know that. You know, like, you know, they were in confession every week, but they look great.
Yeah.
And I think that what people don't understand is building a relationship will get you more sneakers. Building a relationship will get you more opportunities. You know, it's important like that, you know, to even know like that people don't realize that in your phone, it's all there, but it depends of how you're kind of handling it and approaching it. But boutiques, supporting them in all aspects, I think makes them turn around and support you. Yeah. And make sure you're good. And I think for a little bit of like, you know, if you're buying this and buying that, it kind of weighs out for you. So you don't have to deal with the headache. Right. You know, because I remember a time where people couldn't get sneakers at all. At all. Yeah. Okay. And you know, it was very hard. You know, but I think that exclusivity is not what people want today, and emotionally they can't deal with it.
They can't deal with it at all. Like, you know, this whole thing with the bread ones has been. I told you I've been getting hit up like crazy. And the crazy thing is I've been so busy with some others I haven't even paid attention to it. It's like. It's just like they wouldn't last in the 2000s at all. Like, it's just my thing. Because like I'm
too much backdoor.
Yeah, way too much backdoor. Pause. I grew up in the era of just being like I became a size 13. I tweeted this out recently. I was just like, I became a size 13. I realized I'm never getting all the shoes that I wanted immediately because there's only 1 or 2 pairs that you get per store. So I was just like,
how many 12 and a halves do you see?
Even less. And I'm a true 12 and a half, but I'm a 13.
It's crazy to hear the 13s and the 12s and a half talk that way when I'm a 9 and a half.
Yeah, but you get like 9s get like six pairs.
Nah, but F's everybody's size though at the same time. So it's like
not if you're in the front of the line. I'm in the front of the line and not get my pair.
But everybody's copping the flavors very quickly. And it's also the retail on me is nuts.
Well, 9 is, I mean, I'm a 9. And to be honest with you, I felt like I was a 9 where at a point where I thought it was like a braggadocious time, meaning because it was sample size. Now, to be honest with you, samples could be in any size. You know, and
I just learned that recently.
You know, but you know, at the time I was like, oh, I'm a 9, and I did, and I have been blessed, you know, with different, you know, early sneakers for being a size 9. But my experience, like, I could actually kind of tell you things by certain sizes, like as weird. That's how long I've been around sneakers. First of all. 13. Years ago, when people order 13s, they wouldn't order a lot of 13s because they were afraid of getting stuck with them. Yeah, 13 has become more and more and more and more and more normal. 13 is as normal as a 9 now. Yeah. Okay. 10 and a half for some reason is just an amazing number. I don't know why. I guess maybe people just never got even. And no, I'm just being honest. But 10 and a half has always been a humongous. But 9, you know, and then 7, it's like you're like. You don't want to pay the men price for 7.5, and you know, but sneakers, you know, you think about it, sneakers on so many. I'm going to give it back to you in a second, but I want to say the sneakers on so many levels are beautiful, crazy, and weird. I remember even being in retail and, different like kids would come and, brand new pair of Air Forces, buy a brand new pair of Jordans, Aqua 8s, go outside and take that Air Force and throw it in the garbage. Yo, my man. I'm like, what are you doing? Why don't you just give that to somebody, man? That's a brand new pair of Air Forces. Like, homie wore them like once or twice. Mm-hmm. And he's like, fuck that. I don't give a man. Nobody give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I'm like, now this is years ago, and I get it. And there are people right now that may feel that way because there are people that don't give a fuck about them, and they hate on them and try to block them, and they just getting fly. So here's what I tell you: get more fly, get more wavy with it. But at the end of the day, it's like kind of like learning how to like do that. It's the sneaker culture. It's like kind of like. Another thing, too, is I'm just being honest. I'll hear people be like, yo, he got OG Jordan 4s and OG Jordan 6s. He's a legend. Yo, I go buy OG Jordan 6s right now on StockX, OG Jordan 4. And then you're going to sit here and call me a legend? Because I have them in possession. I didn't fucking make them. Put my stanky feet in them. I'm a legend. So, no, I'm saying. So it's not only about sneakers. Yeah. Let's call people legends. When they earn it. Yeah. And don't ever call yourself a motherfucking legend.
Oh, never.
Let the people call you that shit. Earn that shit.
Earn it, yeah.
And I do feel like the word is thrown around loosely, but
I think that's just like the watered downness of everything. Like everybody's quick to water it down. Like for example, and I mean when I was on the forums heavy during the day.
Nike Talk?
NSB.org a lot. But ISS,
I was very good friends with Jeremy. Oh, I was on NSB.org. It's funny. You know what's so funny? Someone sent me a video of like me, Dallas, Jeremy, and like Chris Vidal, I think like 17 years ago. Dallas had this video like putting a light on internets. Yeah. And, but yeah, I remember NSB.org. We used to have the store advertised on there. I became friends with him. I don't even know what, it's like sometimes sneakers, you don't even know what happens. Like people just, but we were friends for a while. And wherever he is, salute to Jeremy. He created a community and we had some fun. We hung out and we became cool. Yeah. But he wasn't from New York, he was from, I forget where he was from, but.
I met we had like a little group that we always meet up and stuff. But, I was just trying to say, but like that's where I like learned about community and like, but the biggest thing was everybody called people legends for having gigantic collections. Sure. Right.
Or PEs
or getting stuff early.
Doing like it takes a lot of work. Yeah. It takes a lot of work but I say this, it takes, I compare that if somebody asks, okay, I would say I compare that to like even starting a podcast these days. Like, okay. Like even having a film these days. Okay. I see so many people, even having your own strain these days, like in weed. Okay.
Yeah.
But you got to sell it.
You're right. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who have films that can't sell it. There's a lot of people who have, podcasts that may not make any money from it. I'm going to explain what I mean by that, meaning it takes time to build something.
Right.
And a lot of people, if you're looking for something to build like that, you got to be unique. And that's where I'm saying being unique with something. Like we could just talk about kicks. That's cool. Anybody could talk about kicks.
Yeah.
But being unique with it and having different people come on and share their story. I also believe, to be honest with you, having a good guest is somebody that's going to give the audience, your audience, something. Because that's the value. You're the value of providing the platform. They're the value of coming on here and letting the people listening, right? Like, and giving them some gems about life or sneakers or anything.
Right, yeah.
Because most people, think about it, like, kind of like, I had this one on, but okay. Like, you may say, oh, man, I had Premium Pete on. People are like, well, it's like they may enjoy the episode more than they know of me. Like, meaning like, oh, I actually didn't know of him but wow, what an episode. And that's what it's about. It's not about like, kind of like,
just using the name.
Just using the name or feeling like who is this or I know this. It's like kind of like, what did he say?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what did he leave me with? And I think anybody who loves sneakers and can passionately talk about them, and it is beautiful. And I say this now, I try, I'm a very humble guy, but through rubber and leather, I've been able to travel my voice around the world and travel around the world and see different people do amazing things. I've said this before on different episodes, but man, it's been inspiring to see. You know, like, you know,
I mean, you know, I definitely wanted to touch on, you know, your friendship with Dallas. Like, because we talked about how I met Clark, but so I met Dallas last year, the beginning of last year. Always wanted to have him on as a guest. So I talked to him at Air Max Day. And he took a picture of me and my boy Marcus, and I'm on his Instagram. And I told you about this. Sorry, I'm like kind of breaking up, feeling about this. It's all good. But like, it's just definitely it. I've always was a big fan of Dallas for so many years, right? But like, to me, it was always just like this. I just want to talk to him because he's such a just like a wordsmith and a visual. Like, you can paint the pictures that he would always write about and give you like this like world that you just live in whenever you'd read his writings. And also, you know, his stuff on Combat Jack and all the skits and stuff that, you know, you got to be part of.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
I wanted to know more about.
Well, first of all, you know, rest in peace to Dallas Penn. You know, just a really, really unique guy. You know, I you know, sometimes you look for monetary things and you know, things that'll help you kind of succeed in life, but you don't even realize that friendships or, you know, I met Dallas later on in my life. I became better friends with him than friends I grew up with. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even I was telling somebody the other day, I was able to share like a breaking night type of relationship with Dallas. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like, you know, I even like, you know, shouts to Susan, his wife, Chuck Snowflake. Like, I remember I used to call early in the morning. She's like, Pete, we're sleeping. Mm-hmm. And I would be like, all right, I'll call you back. You know, because he would go with no phone. Like, he was like one of those guys that like, he was so, you know, unique. His style, like, he was meant for everything he did. Yeah. Dallas Penn was meant to do everything he did and more. You know, his influence, his style. I mean, even what guy goes on crutches and puts the same, like, he was wearing Jordan 14s and then put the baby Jordan 14s on crutches.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because he had, you know, his leg issue with the diabetes. And you know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm going through these situations, but I'm still going to stay fly as a motherfucker. Yeah. And, you know, he was such a believer. And you know, such a wordsmith, and really just a guy who gave more to this life than he took. Yeah. And somebody that I love and cherish. You know, I was telling you too, because over the years, whether, you know, people know my journey or not, but I lost a lot of people who were special to me. I mean, even over this, you think about just having Combat and Dallas and Clark Kent, you know, Sean Price and Fat Man Scoop, and I could keep on going. But people that, you know, I've been able to have comfortable, real, caring, never switch up, never funny style, door opening for you, solid 3 a.m, 3 p.m. fucking friends. Yeah. You know, and that's something that I cherish daily. I cherish that I've been able to build those relationships with sneakers, you know, like, you know, and it started with sneakers, you know, and then it went into other stuff, but, you know, just being, that's how special it is. Somebody like Dallas, I think, you know, although he didn't always get the credit he deserved, he influenced a lot of people. A lot of people. And I think whether he was brash or whether he was just the trickster he is, you know, his heart was always in the right place. Yeah. And, you know, I feel it an honor that I was able to share so many moments with him, a brotherhood. I mean, I've had so many people since he passed, like, just reach out to me and tell me, like, yo, I know how much, like, he fucked with you, or I know how much he appreciated, or I know how much you loved him, or I know, and to be honest with you, for the people to say that alone, like, for you to know that, like, even when I was at his first memorial, when we did, some guy came up to me, he was like, oh, well, he loved you, I want to shake your hand. I know he loved you. And it meant the world to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be honest with you, man, you know, and I said this before, but when you grow up, you know, you don't go to like a grief school or, you know, and you don't know, I mean, you know, people are going to pass. And even like when you deal with your own family that you may know has certain time to live. And then like when they go, it's like, oh my God, it's like what you didn't know, but nobody's prepared.
Nobody's prepared.
And I think it's just building those type of relationships. I don't want to spend the whole time only, you know, kind of talking about this, but building relationships like with Dallas, were one of my most special. I mean, here, actually, I'll give you this. And I don't know if do you go straight or you cut things or what do you do?
No, we're going straight.
Okay. So that's great. All right.
Yeah.
So I want to give you this. So, and then you take it wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be afraid. Because remember, I'm like somebody who's like, I've done podcasts on the front, done in the back. Pause. And so I want you to take this show wherever you want to take it. But I want to say this.
We're taking it where it's supposed to go.
After retail, I wanted to do something. It's crazy to me, but I always wanted to continue to be passionate about sneakers.
Yeah.
And so I started this thing called SneakerTube.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2010, and when I think about it, it was only 15 years ago. I ran it for 4 years, and then we kind of put it to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of money just for video storage.
Right, yeah.
Okay? Even to build a website, to be able to like I was like, can I give them messages? Can they message people?
Right,
That's $4,000 to create that code. All right, well, create it. I want them to change their screensaver. I want them this. Like, even to build that. And it was never to compete with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I never made it, you know, I never made it to like kind of like, you know, be a competitor. I made it to be a platform for people who were on YouTube to feel special. Like, meaning like you got like SneakerTube. Like if you look up Black Cat, you would see all black cats.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to see the Black Cat Jordan 4s.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or the Black Cat Jordan 3s. And I want to be specific. So channels were like Reebok or Nike SB and people were on there, featured video.
Yeah.
And I would make it my business to like feature people who weren't really featured. And then I would get like little contest I would do called Rep Your Sneakerhood, get like $500 to your school. And all these people would put in these, you know, I'm like, that's one thing. I'm not a guy, I've done a lot, but I don't know if I put it in one spot well enough where people know. But then I'm also
no, man.
I'm just being honest. Because
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, I did this. I don't have to. But I want to say this. And I want anybody listening to this or watching this to feel this, what I'm about to tell you. I didn't know what to do in my life in 2010. I coming out of retail. I'm trying to figure it out. But I had so much passion to start a site. I mean, I literally fucking wrote like 500 envelopes with postcards in there, how to upload your videos, with a personal letter from me to every single fucking sneaker store all over the world. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, everybody. And and I was able to get different people to be involved, you know, meaning to promote it. Yu Ming put on Sneaker News, Matt from Nice Kicks, shouts to G-Rock from the Shoe Game. Everybody just really, you know, kind of put it out there for me. And I remember the first day we got like 1,000, you know, people sign up. Then we had a couple of thousand. Then we had 10,000, 20. And the point I'm trying to make is this. For 4 years, I did it, and then I kind of put it down.
Yeah.
2010, I launched it. Mm-hmm. Dallas Penn calls me and says, hey, Pete, come up to the Combat Jack show and push that SneakerTube. Yeah. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, push it. I was like, all right. So I came up there. And for anyone who don't know or do know, I never left.
Never left.
And I was able to help kind of add my value and kind of find my voice and kind of, you know, look, the Premium Pete show was through there. The bridge of, so what I'm saying to you is, maybe SneakerTube didn't turn out to be this $10 million company that I acquired by fucking YouTube. Yeah. But it was a bridge for me to, you probably would have never known me.
I mean,
maybe in sneakers, but you wouldn't know me from the Combat Jack show. Right, yeah. I wouldn't probably never really elevated with Dallas so much. We were able, imagine you're passionate and then you're able to like be with your friends because you're passionate about it and get paid for it. Meaning doing podcasts, doing sneakers, doing that type of stuff. And it was at a time where people really didn't believe in it. That's one of the toughest things that I face that I try to help younger kids not face. Like your parents, not like my mother, like Nike, even this is a fucking blessing. People are sending you shoes and sending you sneakers. And I remember Bun, you know, it's funny, I've said this before, but even like how Bun put it, he was like, yo, Pimp would say, he said, Pimp told him, like, yo, if Jordan Brand is sending you sneakers, man, we made it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But my mother, every time I would send it to her house because, no, you know, I felt like she was in a safe area, so it's like the box would be okay.
Yeah.
So I was sending it, and I'll come there, I'm come in and I'm opening it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? I was like, oh, it's sneakers. What size? Ma, it's my size. Why don't they send you some money?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. But what I'm saying, just to be seated, even now, like I meet like these young, I go to my barber, like the younger barber. I was like in my trunk getting things and showing him, and I'm looking at a box and he's like, they sent you this? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? Like, why would they send you this? And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I got to sit here and explain. But at the end of the day, it is a great question.
Yeah.
Because people are only thinking about influence. It's not about influence. It's about relationships.
Yeah.
It is.
It's about relationships. It's about how you treat people. You know how many people I know that say, oh, Nike don't fuck with me? Who the fuck is Nike?
Yeah.
Who?
I mean,
Do you know? No, I'm saying, you know Joe Schmo that works at
Yeah.
Nike? That's
Yeah.
who the fuck it is.
I mean, I was just gonna say,
Go make that relationship. Go
behind that
build
energy?
on that, and don't only
Yeah.
ask for sneakers.
That's true.
You know, and you know, it's like, you know, it's just another way of building, man. It's just, but again, I'll give it back to you. I don't want to take.
I mean, we towards the end of the podcast anyway, so I'm gonna ask you one more question, and that question deals with a little visualization. Let's go with those Jordan 3s. So I want you to think back to younger Premium Pete. I don't know what you call it, just Pete, Pete at this point.
Yeah. Well, premium is always, first of all, anything in front of a sneaker that said premium back in the day. I'm thinking when there was like a tier 0 accounts
Yeah.
and all these things. Premium, you know, it's special to. You think about anybody that has like a name. I always, even in throughout my
I was treating
career,
it like a rap name, you know.
well, even rap names. No, just it's like I've been able to sit down with people from all walks of life.
You had some legendary people sit
Yeah,
across,
and be like, yo, what was your name before this?
Yeah, exactly.
And or what was this? Or how you get your nickname? You know, I was telling someone too the other day, like even somebody like Dallas Penn, like he would call me Premio or Premium so much. Like Premium, I was like, you know, like if you said Pete, I'd be like almost to a point where, you know, I was even saying sometimes the culture will have someone, you'll know them by their nickname. You won't even know their name ever. You'll be friends with them 10, 15 years. You'll be like, oh shit, I didn't even know your name was Jeremy.
One of my best friends in the whole world, we call him Trey. That's Trey.
Yeah.
Trey's whole name.
But
So funny, I learned Trey name. I'm talking about my best friend in the whole world, grew up around the corner, my guy. I found out Trey name was not Trey in 2021.
Yeah.
When we went, I'm in a punk band and we went on tour and we had to like put stuff, everybody's real names on like the passport stuff and all this other stuff. And I was like, who the hell's Andrew? And it was like, it's Trey.
But it goes to show you, you know, it goes to show you of how the community is never about like, you know, you're accepted because of your love and your passion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the most important thing. Like there's a passion. There's a passion for, you know, just like, you know, even when you think about footwear, they're like pieces of moments in our life that we spoke about, you know?
Yeah.
The time capsules.
Speaking of which, so this question deals with a little visualization. So young Premium Pete, he's about to open that box of the Jordan 3s. What would you tell your younger self as he opens that box?
Man, what do you mean at this time? I mean, if I could tell him,
you
like,
go
like
back
I'm
in
on
time.
his shoulder?
You go back in time. You're right behind him.
Man, that's a great question. You know, I would probably tell him to buy more pairs of these. Nah, I'm already playing. You know, it's that's, you know, I think that the best advice I would ever give to anybody, even myself, is to never ever give up. Is to never stop believing in your dreams. You know, honestly, so many people I've seen come and go, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is their own, like, can't get out of their own way, or people believe in people who believe in themselves. And you got to believe in yourself even on the toughest days, because it's important, and there'll be tough days that you may even say, man, fuck this podcast shit, or fuck that, or where you may meet somebody who will act like you didn't do 205 episodes. But that doesn't that shouldn't make you forget about your vision and where you're going. And there'll be people who won't fuck with your shit.
Yeah.
And won't get what you're doing or where you're going. But I promise you, everyone gets where you're going once you get there.
Yeah.
But you got to get there.
For sure.
And, I wish I would tell them to stop worrying about other people and also learning, more importantly, that as much as you want, you can't take everybody with you. And that's one of the toughest things that I've had to deal with in my life. I was always a kid, like growing up, if I had $5 and my friend didn't have it, like we go to an arcade, like, yo, we split this in half, and, it's like, I've never been a kid about myself. And I think I've been able to show that later on in life.
Yeah.
With all my different relationships, like with Dallas and Combat and Bun, and really show that, like, the careness. And I think, I would just say to anybody, I'm not going to only say it to myself, but just never ever stop believing in yourself. Stay focused, but also don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And learn to forgive yourself. And I will say this, if you wait to be perfect, you'll never do anything. A lot of people I know, they wait until like they have it perfect, and nobody ever hears from them.
Yeah.
Ever. I never see them. They say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. Listen, let me tell you something. How you do it is go do it, and then figure it the fuck out. Put one foot in front of the other. And I only say that as somebody who, when I think about the culture of sneakers and what it's going to be, even think about what culture of sneakers is going to be in 20, 30 years. And there may be some people listening who may not even know who I am. But I want to say this. If you're passionate about something, you can make it a way of life.
Yes.
And I think that, like, what has been created in the community of culture is so special. I try to focus on, there's a lot of craziness, and we lost a lot of people in life through silliness, lines and stuff like that, and we got to figure ways to not give up your life for a pair of kicks. But, just the ability to, make friends and create contacts and make love,
great community,
like make it important and make it like something you love with friends is one of the most powerful things, I'm telling you.
That's what makes me love it. But let everybody know where to find you.
Well, listen, Premium Pete, if you want to check out anything I do, just, find it. I've done so many, it's funny because it's like, I don't even know, I've done a couple of films now.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're an actor.
No, I know, it's fucking weird, right? No, I'm saying it's like, so it's like
coming up to the table.
I look at it this way. If you enjoyed any gem, then there's definitely more out there to learn from. I did, throughout the years of doing Premium Pete Show, I did, also I did this Life Gems, and I was able to, I wanted to give people like tools for when they're on the go. When I was coming up, there wasn't a lot of people who, wanted to mentor and it's like kind of like you get coffee like 100 times. Or, well, when am I going to have to not get coffee anymore? And I think like, when I grew up, it was a lot like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that and I never strive to do that to the people who,
we're seeking
you want to see win. And what I eat don't make you shit, and what you eat don't make me shit. So, let's see people win, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you could do that through the thought of sneakers is just one component.
Yeah, I always think about it like, as the quote is, rising tides lift all ships. So I try to make sure that the people that are around me are always going to be, as uplifted or lifted.
Yeah. I don't want to take you to church on Sunday, but feel free, it's like I said, it's any episode that I would end speaking to myself or telling a kid or telling anybody, my younger self or anything, you know, I'm proud of the way a lot of things have like, you know, transpired, and I was able to, you know, I'm not a selfish guy, so I'm glad I was able to create so many moments with people, but all for sneakers.
Yeah.
Like I want, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it's like,
That's what I'm trying to do with this too. So,
well, first of all, you already did it because, you know, I want to say this. A lot of people look for things to go further and further and further, and it will. That's why I said you never stop believing in you, because if you're silly enough to think you could take this further, then you will. But you have to be that silly, you know, to be want to take it. And I think that if you continue to be informational, and you know, could give people a inside look at different walks of life, you know, and how people move. You already did a job, you know, making money. Like I give an example, and and you don't have to keep this. You could keep this to yourself, but you know, say you get 4 ads and for the whole month, and on 4 episodes, and you make a nice amount of money. You say, wow, I can get used to this, and that's cool, and that becomes the way of life. But then what next?
right. Yeah.
Then what do you do with this?
Right.
If you get Jay-Z on this podcast tomorrow, and it's like kind of like it's all over the blogs to take any said thing, what happens next?
How do we?
No, I'm saying who you have on next.
Oh, I mean, I'll get Nas next.
I know, but not that. But what I'm saying is
I mean, yeah. I mean, I still would have the hunger to want more.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that is when you keep going, you show people that Jay-Z's not the only episode that is special, and people will find you because of Jay-Z, but then they will find this episode that you did with XYZ, and they're like, yo, this was powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's special. Continue to do that, because doing a podcast, most people are like, yo, you know my podcast? It's all about them. They'll have this guy on my podcast. I had this guy on my podcast. But at the end of the day, when they listen to this episode, if they got something for it, that's a double whammy. Because now they're like, yo, thank you.
I want somebody to take this, always look forward to the next stories that we're telling each week and with each guest as we round out to the end of the episode. This actually has been episode 206, and I've been wrong the entire time.
You gotta do that intro.
I'm not doing the intro again. I'll just splice in myself saying 206.
No, don't do that.
But you know where to find me. Who is Haas on all social medias. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. Sorry, D, I'm not gonna let you say it. Follow D at DEEE God. No, DEEMIGOD.
Triple E, like Andre 3 Stacks, Demigod. That's what it is.
Go listen to some Oxy. Go listen to Oxymorons.
No, you got to make your at name a little bit more easier when you meet people for the first time. Like, I met this kid one time. He's like, yo, he wanted me to like, he's like, gave me his name, but I'm trying to remember this thing. It's like Pretty Thug 3474 underscore $. And I'm like, what? I'm like, fuck all that shit.
Yeah, no, that's not a follow right there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No, yeah.
He's like, yo, you make sure. I'm like, all right.
I follow the podcast, My First Kicks Pod. And if you have a story, info@myfirstkicks.com. Cop a shirt. We got new merch coming, hats coming. Thank you for jumping on the podcast again.
Of course, man. Like I said, you followed up and you're doing something that is, you know, kind of like giving people history of not only people from all walks of life, but also of how much they, you know, love kicks and how special that is.
And for everybody out there, you know what we say each week, wear your kicks. Peace.